there's basically two types of institutional decision-making frameworks. Like there's literally like, can I collect the information and pull it up, or is it command down? Like, here's like, help me make a decision. I'm going to make a decision, then you're going to implement it, or I'm trying to draw advice up. I'm a big draw advice up fan, but I totally respect that there's another side to that, and I've heard it argued very well many times as well, which is the command down. So
let me make sure that we sort of wrap this conversation up with something. There's been a huge amount of really interesting content, but like something super practical, right? So circling back to sort of the CIO's dilemma, and we recognize, I think, you stated, we certainly agree, the most optimal.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you give me 1 minute? I'm totally sorry. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Yeah, of course. You bet.
Well, look, I just
when the guest leaves,
I just want to say,
what do you do?
He should have gone to the bathroom before he started the podcast. I told him 5 times. It's like my child. So the one thing that I think is important here, because we get this question all the time, as to, well, why, you're a quant, I want to know the exact rules that you use, and then when you use them, I want to make sure that you're going to continue to use those rules, which is what all these ETFs are, right? Rules-based decision-making, index, create an index, create a back test, promise the back test, execute, you go flatline for a bunch of years. Those are seen in the same light as quantitative investors like us that are constantly trying to evolve and improve and move away from the crowd, and they're not the same thing.
No, but
I think that's an important distinction, and we've been grouped into the same class. But we're really active managers using quants and rules in order to be able to provide pure alpha over time, right?
Everything in the investment distribution process makes it difficult for systematic investors to innovate, right? You've got to describe your strategy in great detail in the prospectus and in the fact sheets. Anytime you add new markets or new information sources, you need to amend the prospectus. Like, it's everything, at the index ETF level. If you make changes or you're jeopardizing your passive index status and it's got maybe potential tax consequences, like there's all of these incredible obstacles, which is why there's a trade-off between access and the likelihood of success, right? If something is if you have access to it and you're not an accredited investor with a high level of sophistication, it is much more challenging for the manager of that product to deliver consistent innovation and consistently improve their product because of all the headaches and major regulatory obstacles that there are in front of them as a process.
The ETF is difficult for sure. Yep.
I was just going to say, it almost raises the question of why bother calling yourself a systematic investor anymore? Just call yourself a quantitative investor.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what's a dirtier word. I got to be honest, because when you say quant, people think equity quant. Systematic models. I would just say, like, at some point, like wouldn't the best thing to be like have some signals, help make some decisions, and just like literally then go and then discretionarily.
You're an active manager.
Yeah.
You're an active manager that uses coding in order to be able to execute every aspect of that process.
But I hate this term, but there's this quantamental term, which is that mixture of quant.
We just had, like, our head trader just threw up on the screen right now.
But I do see that a lot in like the volatility space where they're quantitative investors, but they're not systematic, right? Yeah. And they do draw that distinction. And again, I think we put ourselves in a corner.
I believe in the discipline of systematic investing so much. I believe in the discipline of the vol targeting, of the portfolio construction. Like, I could not come close to doing what we're doing. 20 ideas, each of which has like thousands of subparameters, and like you cannot do that. It is.
But that's not. I would argue it's not systematic because you're going to evolve it over time. It's quantitative. You are quantitatively enabled. Yes, you're using.
But the day-to-day decision making is systematic.
There's boundaries between correlation, what you can do with correlations and volatilities, though, right? And in order to understand correlations, you can't do it by gut. It is so complex. It's so multidimensional and ethereal. Like it's three-dimensional in a way that you just.
So you use quantitative models.
Okay. Yeah, we've had this exact discussion because at the end of the day, there's a taint right now on some terminology. And it's very interesting because people ask you, like, they still want to put you in a box. So what do you, like, what are you, what box are you in? Like, are you trend follow? Are you convex, or are you mean reversion, or are you, it's like, well, no. And they go, well, you got to be one or the other. It's like, well, no. Well, then you must have switching. Well, yes, of course we do. It's like, well, then what, it's like, and it becomes a very challenging set of questions because they want to know what box you're in. And I go, like, look at my correlations. If I'm correlated to anything, put me in that box. But I'm pretty sure everyone I've ever sent my correlations to have gone, like my returns have gone, like, this doesn't look like anything else that we have. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty unique and pretty different. And from that perspective, it's very hard to think what box I belong in, because a box shouldn't be a name. And this is why, like how do you compete with an AQR or two signals? So why am I? Like, is it because you literally say, like, because you have, like, you both have, like, a quant or systematic in the name? Because, like, there's a universe of difference in the way different people will approach different problems. Like, at the end of the day, correlations are where the rubber hits the road on whether you're doing the same thing or not. And so, like, at the end of it, different is different. Like, and whatever tools at your disposal to get there. Like, at the end of, like, different comes not on the technology is, but from the creativity that you have to get there. And so, like okay, I got another story. I know you guys are, like, you're gonna get tired of me very soon, but like there's like Michael Malbuzet, like, has this, like, I love his stuff, and he, there's, like, so what do you need? Like, what do you need in terms of creativity? Because, like, I love this analogy. It goes like ants, right? Like ants, when they wander off and they do this, like, they wander around, and when they find food, they follow their pheromone trail, back, and they lay down more pheromones, and they harden this trail, and the other ants start following that trail, and you get this line of ants. And they go, it's a very efficient process. It's a very efficient search process because, like, once the food is found, like, all the ants have a straight line to that food. And the crazy thing is, about 10% of ants, they don't follow that line. At some point they go, I'm going this way, and they wander off. And the thing is, like, it's so important to have the ant who's wandering off the line, because if you don't, they all follow the line, and at some point the food runs out. Like, it turns out it's a very efficient, hairy search process where, like, a lot of those ants who wander off, they don't find anything, but you need the ants who at some point in the line go, like, I don't want to follow this line anymore. I want to do something different, because that's how you stop following the line. And the worst case scenario is called a death spiral. The ants will like start following each other in a circle. And, like, literally all the ants are following each other. They go in the circle, they keep going in the circle until they literally, like, starve to death. It's like,
Chris, I'll one up your sorry, not the one up
your institution to get into the death spiral.
I'll add a little color to your story there. It's not just 10%. The more uncertain the terrain, the greater the number of ants that peel off.
I read a study today, so I was trying to catch up on it, and it's like different ants have a different propensity to peeling off. But yeah, like, that's exactly, and I find that so cool, because it's like, yes, this is exactly what you need. Like, you need, like, the annoying idiots who challenge status quo, because, like, as frustrating and annoying as they are, but you have to. And so this is where it's like, cross discipline is so helpful from this perspective, because, like, I think you can challenge the status quo a lot if you come from the outside in. If you're trained in a certain way of thinking, like, I think already you're kind of caught in the rut to a certain degree. And, like, I don't know, I have that trend following. We talked about
the trend following.
I mean, this is like where I just think
I was coming at the trend following story. I was coming at it circuitously. So we're
going, like, straight at 2 hours here.
I asked you before about the CIO's dilemma.